Now I want to talk about modern hemp history. This started in 1990 when Jack Herer wrote his seminal book, The Emperor Wears No Clothes. A whole generation of hempsters, including myself, cut our teeth on this book. It's got all the different uses of hemp, as well as its rich history. It's a wonderful book. Chris Conrad wrote another great book, Hemp, Lifeline to the Future. Don Wirtschafter started the Ohio Hempery. He had a mail order catalog with dozens of really nice products. Back in the 90s, hemp wasn't legal to grow it in America, so you had to import it from China or Europe. Rob Youngman started the Menashe Tash company making hemp clothing. He's now making clothing under the Young Maven label. Michael and David Bronner started adding hemp seed oil to their soaps. You can still find Dr. Bronner's all over the place. So support the hemp industry and buy some of their soap. Sean House has been making hemp pretzels down in Pennsylvania, Hempsels, for over 25 years, and he's still doing that. Ben Dronkers started the Hemp Flax company in Holland, and they're still going strong today. So one of the things is, a lot of the people back then, we all loved hemp, but many of us, we loved all uses of the cannabis plant. We understood how good medical marijuana was. So we had a lot of great people in the movement, a lot of great women. Mary Kane created Hemp World magazine and Hemp Pages directory. Candy Penn was the director of the Hemp Industries Association for several years. She did a great job. Ruth Shamai up in Canada made some wonderful hemp seed power bars. Carolyn Moran made tree-free hemp paper. Barbara Philippone and her daughter, Summer Star, have been making hemp fabric for over 25 years, and they're still at it. And Mickey Norris has been working side by side with Chris Conrad for all these years, promoting hemp and fighting prohibition. And I wouldn't be here today without the love and support of my wife, Pam, who's put up with my hemp obsession for all these years and really provided so much support to me that I really, really appreciate it. So during the 90s, hemp started picking up steam. In 1996, Pam and I went to Amsterdam for the Cannabis Cup. And I was there to cover it for Hemp Magazine because they had a hemp expo. They had several hemp companies there. Most of them were American, but some were from Germany and Holland in Europe. And this was one of the very beginnings of the modern hemp industry, at least for the trade show aspect of it. So I wrote an article about that, the 96 Cannabis Cup for Hemp Magazine. You can find that out on the internet. In 1998, Paul Galen put on the Santa Cruz Hemp Expo. This was an awesome event with dozens of vendors, thousands of attendees over the weekend. And Paul produced a documentary of this weekend called Hemp Hooray that you can find out on YouTube. So you should check that out. Also in 1998, this is when Canada legalized commercial hemp farming. So Canadian farmers started growing it, which was great, which meant we didn't have to import everything from overseas. And mainly back then, a lot of companies were producing hemp seed or grain, as they call it, because that required less infrastructure than fiber, than creating, processing the stalk to produce hemp fiber or hemp clothing. So a lot of hemp seed oil companies were started up, like Greg Harriott with Hempola, Sean Crew with Hemp Oil Canada. So the hemp industry was really rocking in the late 80s. We're importing hemp from Canada and mainly hemp seed, hemp grain. So of course the DEA could not put up with this. So they declared that hemp seed was illegal in 1999, and they stopped a container load of seed at the border. We sued the DEA, got a temporary injunction, and we eventually won, which was great. But it took several years. And in the meantime, it just totally destroyed the hemp industry because it just created so much confusion for the farmers in Canada, for American consumers, and for American companies trying to obtain this raw material to make products. So the DEA was really, did everything they could to mess with us. In 2000, Alex Whiteplume planted hemp on his reservation in South Dakota and the Pine Ridge Reservation, because he wanted to help make his tribe self-sufficient. Of course, the DEA couldn't put up with that either. So a few months later, they came in typical jackboot thug manner and literally pulled the plants up out of the ground and threatened Whiteplume with prison if he planted hemp again. What they didn't realize was they came pretty late in the season, and a lot of the plants had already gone to seed. So when they pulled them up, the seed got scattered, and next year they had quite a few hemp volunteers. So we got a lot of great history out there, a lot of great people. It's been the